Half-time in the second semi-final. It's Geelong by 41 points over Fremantle. More to come from the MCG after the latest from the ABC Newsroom with Jim Graham.
Thanks, Jared. Former David Jones Chief Executive Mark McInnes has rejected new claims against him of sexual harassment as he fights a $37 million case brought by an employee. Rebecca Barrett reports Mr McInnes says the allegations are simply more untruths, more untested claims and gross exaggerations.
Publicist Christy Fraser-Kirk is suing former David Jones Chief Executive Mark McInnes and the retailer, alleging he acted inappropriately at company functions. In an amended statement of claim filed to the federal court, 2 more women have made claims of sexual misconduct against Mr McInnes when he worked at Black & Decker 20 years ago. The amended claim states he was counselled 10 times about his inappropriate behaviour. The statement alleges another woman at David Jones has come forward with claims against Mr McInnes and that the retailer knew 3 other employees had been sexually harassed by another manager but did nothing to change the workplace culture.
The federal independent MP, Rob Oakeshott, has rejected an offer to become a government minister. He says he doesn't want anything to hinder the implementation of the regional package he negotiated with the Prime Minister, Julia Gillard. Mr Oakeshott says he's been considering the offer of the regional affairs portfolio since Tuesday, when he gave Miss Gillard his support. He says in the end he decided there would have been political problems for the package if he was a minister.
These are pretty unusual circumstances, and so there is a fair bit of political heat around my particular position. I'm not one who's going to fall back on, family. We are a strong family, and I could have done the job predominantly. The main consideration was the Regional Australia package and making sure it survives.
A huge blaze near San Francisco's International Airport is believed to have been caused by an explosion in a natural gas pipeline. At least 1 person has died and dozens have been injured. More than 50 homes have been destroyed in suburban San Bruno, with another 120 damaged. This resident says his first thoughts were that it was a gas explosion.
The fireball was 100 feet or more in the air. So I'm a firefighter, so right away I knew it was, a major thing. And it just would not stop, so we knew it was some kind of gas main, because it just kept going, literally 100 feet flames. It was amazing.
The State Emergency Service says only 4 homes are now at risk of flooding if a levee breaks at Wangaratta in northeast Victoria. Receding floodwaters and work to shore up the Wilson Road levee have allowed the area to be officially reopened to the public. 20 people chose to go against the advice of emergency crews and remained in their homes, which were threatened by the swollen King River. The billionaire mining magnate Clive Palmer has denied he had any corrupt dealings with the West Australian Nationals leader Brendan Grills. Jane Norman reports.
Last month, the state opposition launched a Freedom of Information request into the government's management of a mine owned by Mr Palmer. The opposition has accused the government of helping Mr Palmer avoid paying a multi-million-dollar environmental bond on the mine site. Mr Grills complied with the FOI request, but failed to disclose any details about 6 meetings he had with Mr Palmer during February 2009 and May 2010. The Auditor-General will now determine whether Mr Grills' actions were justified. Meanwhile, Mr Palmer has released a statement defending his meetings with Mr Grills. He says he had no corrupt dealings with the Nationals leader and never discussed the environmental bond issue.
It's been a bittersweet day for the family of Jared McKinney, the 21st Australian soldier to die in Afghanistan. His funeral was held in Brisbane this morning, and late this afternoon his widow gave birth to their 2nd child. The story from Charlotte Glennie.
Members of Lance Corporal Jared McKinney's 6th Battalion escorted his body into the Ashgrove Church. The 28-year-old was killed in late August during a 3-hour gun battle with Taliban insurgents. Brigadier Paul McLaughlin told hundreds of mourners Lance Corporal McKinney was a soldier's soldier.
Wild horses could not have turned him into a spectator on that day.
In a statement, his widow Becky McKinney said her late husband was an incredible man. This afternoon she gave birth to their 2nd child, a boy. Charlotte Glennie, ABC News, Brisbane.
And the Chief Executive of Fairfax Media, Brian McCarthy, says the government's national broadband network is important for the increasing number of Australians who get their news online. Labor's $43 billion plan will deliver internet speeds of at least 100 megabits per second to 93% of Australian households. Mr McCarthy says reliable internet access is crucial as more people use their computers and mobile phones to catch up on the news.
Like online before it, we are starting to witness a significant transformation transformation in the way people consume content via mobile media. And if the government, now that we know who the government is, proceeds with the rollout of its broadband network, and I hope it does, this will obviously mean increased data delivery speed.
And that's the latest in ABC News.